where Pakistan and Iran will have to play a much larger role. Pakistan would be influencing the Afghan Pashtuns, and Iranians would be influencing the Tajiks and the Uzbeks and the Hazaras.
Yeah.
And the point is that Pakistan and Iran now have come very close lately, defying the Americans, and this is something that the Americans are very upset about.
Yeah.
So this is where, if Pakistan and Iran, with the Chinese at their back, decide to play an aggressive and active role in Afghanistan, NATO and the Americans have absolutely no choice but to accept to what these regional powers say and dictate to them, rather because Americans now, their supply lines go through Pakistan. If any hostile government to the Americans comes or the public pressure mounts and the supplies of the Americans are choked from Pakistan, Americans are dead meat. Believe me, they are dead meat in 2 months in Afghanistan. Every drop of fuel they use goes through Pakistan.
Yeah.
And Americans have absolutely no way, no possibility to replenish or find an alternate supply routes.
Okay.
So Americans are totally dependent on Pakistan right now. And any strong government, and as the Pakistan army is exerting, but the unfortunate part is that Pakistani political government is corrupt, sold out. So that's where the problem is coming for Pakistani state. But as the Americans fear, this government collapses on its own weight, under its own corruption, and the army and the patriots take more aggressive role, we see the time that the Americans would be squeezed and forced to come to the terms that the Pakistani patriots give them.
Right, say Jazakumullah. One more question regarding the Taliban. Why are the United States, with all this sophisticated weaponry and technology, not able to find Osama bin Laden and Mullah Omar? Any news on whether they are alive and well, Zaid?
You see, about the fact is that Afghans are local fighters.
Yeah.
During the Soviet occupation, when the Soviet Union was there in the 80s, I was a young fighter fighting alongside the Afghan resistance. I fought in Afghanistan for 6 years against the Soviets, alhamdulillah.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
You see, so I know from experience that even the mighty Soviet army, there were 500,000 Soviet troops in Afghanistan, and they could not contain a single village. In the daytime they would, at night it was ours.
Yeah.
And Americans and NATO are only less than 100,000 troops. There is no possibility that they can contain a country like Afghanistan. And especially, they are an occupation force, they don't speak the local language, there's a betrayal within the Afghan army. Taliban has penetrated the Karzai government and the armed forces and the police. And over the last 10 years, Taliban have developed sophisticated IEDs, improvised explosive devices, which have taken more casualties of US and NATO forces than any other weapon. So it's basically nightmare, and you would see that all their latest operations in the south, in the Sangin district, in Kandahar, in all these regions have bitterly failed. And in fact, British forces are pulling out from the deadly zones and handing them over to the Americans to be slaughtered there. And actually, there are reports, confirmed reports, that the Americans and NATO forces are paying to Taliban millions of dollars for the transit of their containers and for the protection and security. I mean, it can't get more comical than this.
Yeah.
That the occupation force is paying the resistance for protection. You see?
Yeah.
I mean, this is where it has come down to. So now you tell me, even intellectually, there is a reason why General McChrystal spoke out. There's a division between the U.S. Army and the U.S. political government. The Army commander of Afghanistan theater had to be sacked because he spoke out against the follies and the blunders of the political government. So this is what is happening. The number of suicide cases is higher than the number of troops killed in action.
Okay.
When the armies reach this level, that means they're already doomed. It's only a matter of time.
All right. Brother Zaid, final question. I know we have a very, very busy schedule. Last question. You know, in the recent months and days, we have had many, many bombs at markets and masjids. So what is the reason for all these bombs at markets and masjids, and also civilian deaths in Pakistan? Is there a third force at work? Tell us.
You see, Habibi, the American presence in Afghanistan have allowed Indians to operate with impunity from Afghanistan into Pakistan.
Okay.
And every weapon, explosive device, technology, weapons, money, everything that is being used in Pakistan is flowing in from Afghanistan. That is why you find two resistance groups, insurgent groups. One of them is from Balochistan, the other is the Pashtun of the Tehreek-e-Taliban. And these ruthless people, they belong to the ideology of Takfir or Kharjis, perhaps they are called by scholars here. They declare the entire Pakistani Muslims as non-Muslims, as kafirs, you see. And they justify the slaughter and murder of innocent civilians and people and women and children and bomb blasts in masjids. But also the fact is that in Pakistan, the judicial system has completely failed to respond to the threat of terrorism. In the last 10 years, the judiciary has not hanged a single terrorist. And And when there is, the Quran says that, that in qisas there is hayat for you, there is life for you.
Ji, ji.
And there is no qisas, there is no justice in Pakistan. Judicial system, judges are scared, police is scared, witnesses don't come forward to testify against them, and that puts the pressure on the army to engage these on the battlefront and eliminate them on the battlefront and not hand them over to the system, because the system has already collapsed, you see. And that is why the terrorists have the courage to operate with impunity. If the law is there, if the law is applied, if the nation supports a ruthless process of justice for these very ruthless terrorists, then of course I don't see any problem why this cancer cannot be treated, cannot be cured. It needs certain amputations, need to be done. One has to be ruthless, because desperate times call for desperate measures. The world has not seen such ruthless terrorist bombings as Pakistan has suffered in the last 2 years. Pakistan will have to come out of the box solutions to handle these terrorists who are backed by the Indians, who are backed by the CIA. And the objective, of course, as we said earlier, is the balkanization of Pakistan. Inshallah, that will never happen.
Inshallah. Brother ZAID Hamid, Jazakumullah Habibi, you gave us a better understanding really of the present and developing crisis in that region. May Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala be with the Muslims and also project, and may Allah give izzah to Islam and Muslims. Jazakallah, my brother. Wonderful talking to you, and talk to you soon, inshallah, again.
Thank you, Habibi. Jazakallah khair. Allah yasallamuk. Ma salama.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.